daughter was missing. Nancy Eklund began handing out flyers and counting the days without Lindsay, ticking them off on little Post-it notes. Placentia PD brought in the usual suspects, like the boyfriend.
When you guys were dating, she hasn't been dating anyone else, to your knowledge?
His name is Matthew Ramirez. He was at college with Lindsay. Then in came the last person known to have seen her, Chris McCamus, 21 years old, out of school. He told the cops he was unemployed. Lindsay had met him through friends about 4 months prior. And it turned out he never drove Lindsay to Andrea's house for a sleepover. Chris said that was a lie Lindsay made up for her mother. The real plan was to go clubbing all night in San Diego.
She says, don't tell my mom that we're going to San Diego because my mom won't let us go or won't let me go or something like that. And definitely don't tell her that we're clubbing.
Chris told police that when their night of clubbing went bust, they headed home earlier than expected. He dropped off the other girls, he said, and then headed to Lindsay's house. Chris said it was after 4 a.m. when he finally got back here to Lindsay's neighborhood. And he said that Lindsay was worried that her mom might hear his truck pull up at that hour. So Chris said Lindsay asked to be dropped off not at her house, but here at the corner, about 50 yards away. That sounded strange to police until they heard from Lindsay's friends that at other times she had asked to be dropped off right here. Chris said he then drove home, and police even found a photo from a bank ATM of what looked like Chris's truck heading north on the right street at the right time. To the cops, Chris's story added up. And that was when police learned Matthew and Chris were not the only men in Lindsay's life. There was someone else whom both Matthew and Chris had mentioned to investigators, an older man who drove Lindsay around. No one knew his name. They had heard Lindsay refer to him as her friend.
That's all anybody knows him by.
As her friend?
Yeah.
Nancy had no idea Lindsay was friends with any older man. She was about to find out. 2 days after Lindsay vanishes, you get a phone call.
Yes.
You're pretty much at your wit's end at
Yes.
this point. And the phone rings and it's a guy named Marty.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know a Marty?
No.
As far as you know, did Lindsay know a Marty?
No.
Marty told Nancy that he'd gone to pick up Lindsay at school, but she wasn't there. He said he had money of Lindsay's that she needed for tuition. None of that made any sense to Nancy. After Lindsay goes missing, Nancy, her mother, gets a phone call from a guy named Marty.
Marty Rossler.
And what does Marty Rossler say to her?
Marty says that he's befriended Lindsay. He's a friend of Lindsay's, and he's concerned because he hadn't heard from her.
What did you learn about Marty Rossler?
Marty Rossler was not Marty Rossler.
Marty Rossler was really Marty Pregenzer. He did not have a criminal record. What he did have was a relationship with Lindsay that he hadn't told his wife about. He told police he'd often pick Lindsay up and give her rides, but that was about it. Marty was 58, and she was 20?
And she was 20.
And they were boyfriend and girlfriend?
Don't think so.
There you go.
So police brought in Marty. Over 2 days, they recorded those interviews, at times on video and sometimes just on audio tape.
When's the last time you saw Lindsay?
A week ago?
No. I don't think so.
Absolutely.
No, absolutely not.
And Marty said that he had last seen Lindsay the day that she went to San Diego on that Friday.
Did you believe him?
We really didn't believe him.
They didn't believe him because of a tip they'd received. A clerk at a local clothing store had called to say she'd seen Lindsay and a much older man who matched Marty's description together at her store after the day Lindsay went missing.
I flat wasn't there on that day, okay? I have been in that store, all right? And like I said, I'm like you. I mean, I'm easily, identified, okay? I mean, probably every place I've been with her would know that I was in there with her, okay?
It was a very long interview.
Friendly?
No.
Have you harmed Lindsay?
No. Never did.
Either by accident? Accidents happen.
Never touched her, okay? Never touched her.
Okay.
This
Okay,
girl is...
have
this-
you put her someplace where she's left?
No.
Police searched Marty's home and found nothing. No proof that Marty had anything to do with Lindsay's disappearance. So they moved on to a new suspect, someone closer to Lindsay than anyone else on Earth.
Coming up,
I was shocked that they even suspected me.
Lindsay's own mother. Were investigators ruling her out or roping her in?
I don't know what this is all about.
When Dateline continues.